Hey everyone, Adam here again. Welcome back to the SimHub tutorial series. By now, hopefully you've been using SimHub for a while. You've loaded a few different dashboards onto a screen or on an existing monitor that you're using. Maybe even played around in the editor a little bit. Well, today we are going to get into creating your first dashboard custom to you for you from scratch. So let's go ahead and get into SimHub and get started. All right, so here we are in SimHub. We're in the Dash Studio page. Let me make sure this is where you can see it. And the first thing we're going to do, I want to make sure I don't have, nope, I don't. Okay, cool. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come right here. We're going to click New Dashboard. And we are going to name this one YouTube, if I can spell it right. There we go. All right, so here's our new dashboard. Now, when we first load into the editor screen here, we're looking at a blank slate. So now I am creating this dashboard to work specifically on my USB-D 480 display, which is 480 pixels wide, 272 tall, or high, however you want to say it. So what we want to do is we want to come over to the dashboard tab right here. And by default, the ratio is 1280 by 720. Obviously, our display does not have that many pixels, so there's no point in us building it out for this. So we're going to change this to 480 and then 272. Okay, so there we go. Now, the rest of this right here, title, description, author, this is all optional. You don't need to fill this out. You can if you want. But what you do need to make sure is take a look at is our first screen. So this is screen 1. We're going to name this our race display. Just double click on it, rename it. And then what we want to do is we want to come down here to the miscellaneous section, and we want to make sure it's set to in-game screen and not idle or pit. This way, when we're in the session, we're in the car, we're out on track, this is the screen that we're going to see. Now, this might look a little small right now, but if you come down here to the lower left-hand corner, you can click the fit to window, and now our 480 by 272, it's a little easier to see. So we're going to go back to the screen, and right now we have no components loaded onto this. Now for the first little bit here, this first dashboard, what we're going to do is we're just going to do everything as easy as possible. We're going to reference the left-hand menu to try to pull as many quick texts, maybe add a couple of text boxes to this. And then when we're done, I'm going to show you one trick that is really going to save you a lot of time. And I know that sounds clickbaity, but I promise stick with me to the end because I'll show you something really cool that's going to help you out down the road. And then if you follow along with the next couple of videos, it's really going to make your life easier. So let's go ahead and take a look. So the first thing I want to have on a dashboard is a gear indicator. So we can go to quick text, engine, current gear, and there it is. Now this is a big box with a small font. So I want to come down over here and I want to change this. I want to make this very legible for me. So we're going to make this 75. And I'm not a big fan of this font. I really like this DIN 1451. No wrap, no text. I want to make sure I hide the labels because I don't need to see this. But we are going to rename this. We're going to call this gear indicator. So now I know what this is. And we're going to resize the box because we don't need it to be that big. And we're also going to come up here to the upper left, and we are going to center it horizontally and vertically. I want this right in the middle of my display where my eyes can quickly look down and see what gear I'm in. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to put a little border around our gear indicator. We're going to make a white border. I don't know. We're going to maybe make it, okay, 10 pixels is a little big given the size. The width is only 58 by 72, so we're just going to put it at 2. There we go. But now we know what this is, but let's then put a little title box over it just to help us out. So we're going to put a little text box here, and we're going to name this gear label. Come down here in our text field. We're going to put gear. We're going to change the font size to 25. Even that's too big. Let's make it smaller. Make it 16. We're going to resize this box. And if I look at this, even this still looks too big. So I want to change this right here. I want to go back and I'm going to make this now. Let's make it a full 100. And then now that we've still got it selected, we can recenter it horizontally and vertically. Now we can come down here and our little gear label will just kind of position it. Then to do something interesting. So you see how we've got that white bar from the border of our gear indicator that's kind of going right through our gear text. So we're going to take the background color of this and we're going to make it black. And now it kind of looks like it's there and it's kind of cutting through it. Now, one of the things with SimHub when you're in the editor is you do have to always have something selected. So we're always going to see something that's going to be highlighted in red. Okay, so we've got a good start here. We've got our gear indicator. Now, I also want to know RPM. Oh, RPM gauge. I don't like this. We're going to delete. So let's see what else we have in here for engine. Engine RPM sounds a little more promising. Hey, there we go. Look at, we've got a number we can put in here. And I'm going to put it right here. We're going to leave font size 20. And I want to make sure that this is the same size as this box. So this is 89 wide. Let's make that an even 90 because that's a much nicer number. And let's go back to our gear indicator. We're going to make it 90. And then we're going to use the arrows on our keyboard to kind of help line it up. We'll bring it down here to the bottom. And now, because you can see that the engine RPM is here above, I know it's lower on the list, but as far as layers go, it's above. The engine RPM will always be on top of our gear indicator. Whoops, I typed that completely wrong. RPM text. So there we go. So now we'll have our gear indicator, our gear, our RPM all right here. All right, so let's think about some other things we might want on our dashboard. Let's see what else is available to us in the quick text. Oil pressure, temperature. These aren't things that are relative to me. Current speed, I don't ever want to look at. So I think as far as engine information goes, I've got the bare necessities covered right here. Notification, game notification, I don't ever put on a dashboard. That's going to be things like you got a 1x. I see that on the screen in front of me. I don't also need to display it on my dashboard. Leaderboards, Delta is nice to have. We're going to get into Delta and iRating and all that other stuff in a future video, so we're going to leave that out. But we do want to know lap information. So personal best current lap number. This is a fixed lap race. That's a good thing to know. So let's go current lap number. And let's put this, I don't know, maybe up here somewhere. So we know this is 90. So I want to take this, I want to make it half of that. So I want to make this one 45. Doesn't need to be anywhere near this tall. And then we're going to move it, I don't know, somewhere over to here. And then we're going to put another text box in. What font size did we go with here? I think this one we went with 16. I like to keep everything uniform. So for this one, we are going to go with a 16 font size as well. I'm going to say lap text. And you know what? I didn't name our lap indicator as well. So we're going to rename this one lap indicator. All right, so let's come over here, resize this box to only be as big as we need it. That looks a bit out of proportion. We're going to take this and we're going to make this a little larger. We're going to make our lap indicator 30. And then we're going to put our white border around it. So we're going to expand the border style, all borders, and we're going to just go 2. We're going to keep things uniform. And we're going to take our text here, and we are going to change this to lap. And then we'll do the same thing we did for the gear. We're going to give it our black background so that it actually looks like it's cutting through. Now this is interesting. So right now, this and this both look like they're kind of offset. So we're going to come over to our right-hand menu and our horizontal alignment. We're going to go center, horizontal alignment for this one. We're going to go center as well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to select both of these. And you notice that now it didn't align it with the horizontal center of the dashboard. What it did was it took the lap indicator and it aligned it with the horizontal center of the larger item that I have selected. It's a very nice little feature to make sure things line up. And I want to do the same with this as well. I want to make sure everything here is aligned horizontally. So it looks nice and neat and clean. It's straight up and down, and everything is good to go. So let's see what else is available that we might want to know. Lap, personal best lap time. Yeah, we can come back to that. Tire temperatures, system. I said in a previous video that the system data is very finicky, so I would avoid using that. Fuel capacity, remaining fuel, that's going to be nice to have. Race position, perfect. So we're going to grab race position. We're going to make this so that it matches a size 30 font. You're going to also come over here. I want to make sure this is the same height and width. So 50 and 45, just to keep things uniform. So we'll type in 45, 50, and then we're going to put our border around it. Now, if you wanted to, you could also radius the corners of it right here. And you can see how, as I'm increasing it, it's adding that round radius. I'm not a fan of that. I know some people are. It looks good in the right situations. We're going to bring this over here. Oh, you know what? That doesn't quite look right because I've now got some overlap. I want to keep this as lined up as I possibly can. So if this is 45, 45, that's 90. We're going to make this one a little bit bigger because I want to have a little gap in between these two boxes here. So we're going to say, I don't know, let's say 95. I want to go back and I want to recenter all of these. So we'll highlight all of them again, come to the upper left-hand corner, click horizontal center, and everything realigns. Now we're going to take all of this, and we're going to line it up on the right edge here. Take this one, line it up on that edge. And if it looks a little off, you can always come over to here to the right-hand menu and look at the position. So the left is 193. That's a little odd. So we're going to make this just an even 194. We'll come over to here, 194. Everything lines up perfectly. All right, so this is our position. We're going to name that. And then we're going to add another text field. We're going to come down here, resize the font to R16 to keep everything uniform. And we're just going to put POS for position. We'll come over here and do our best to make sure that everything lines up. Click both boxes, center, align them to keep it all nice and neat and clean. I want to move this down just a bit. It looks a little off, but that's all right. And then we're going to give it that same black background so it looks like it's cutting through. And hey, there we go. So we've got the start of a basic dashboard that gives us the information we need to know to at least get going when we're out on track. But there's something that's bothering me with this one. If you look over on the right-hand side in our components, we've got all of this stuff that's just kind of out there. And if we keep adding components to this dashboard, this is going to get very cluttered very quickly, and it's going to be really hard for us to discern what is where on our dashboard. Now, if you click something here in the dashboard, you can see that it gets highlighted in the right-hand menu Or if we do the same thing on the menu, it gets highlighted here. I don't want to have that. It's a little too much work. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab all of our things and we're going to put them into common layers. So we're going to click this folder icon for new layer, and we're going to call this our gear layer. Now we're going to take everything that is to do with our gear, our indicator, our label, and our RPM text, and we're going to put that into one folder. Now we can expand that folder, we can see what's inside it, and we can make any edits to the individual items that are inside that folder. Oops, I didn't rename this one, so we're going to rename this one position, and then we're going to create a position folder. We're going to move this into here, this into here. We'll create another folder for our lap. We'll put all of this into one folder. And then I'm going to even go a step further. We're going to create another folder, and we're going to call this our center dash. So anything that is in the center area of our dash will be in here. And now we can just expand it like a typical file structure and be able to see what we're looking for. Uh-oh, but something happened here. So our lap, our gear indicator, this is now causing some issues. If you can look at the boxes, it's not lining up right. So we're going to bring this down a bit. And then we're going to open up, we're going to go to our lap text, and we're going to move it in front of the lap indicator. I'll do the same for position. We're going to slide it down so that it is higher up on the layer level. And now it's in front. All right, there we go. There's kind of our first basic dashboard. Now, I did promise I was going to show you one really cool feature, and I'm going to explain why I'm going to show you that very quickly. So we've got all this stuff on our dash where you've been using a dashboard that has one really awesome feature that you love, and you want to carry it over to a new dashboard that you're creating for yourself. But you don't know how that was created. You don't understand the functions that were being applied to that feature, and you'd rather not try to recreate all of that. Here's what we can do. So we'll go back into SimHub, and we're going to open up, let's say this AIM dash. We're going to edit this dashboard. And the one thing that we really like are these LEDs on the top. You can see that they're highlighted over here. These LEDs are part of a group. This link right here tells you that they're part of a group. We'll get into groups and layers. They're kind of the same thing, but slightly different. So all we're going to do is we're going to come over, we're going to highlight it. When you right click it, the only option you get is to delete. So you can come up here to edit and click copy. Please don't do that on your keyboard. Control C to copy it. Let's go to R dash, Control V to paste it, and then there's our LEDs. Now, I will caution you that when you do this, if the dashboard that you are copying from was created for a higher resolution display, like 1280 by 720, as in the case of that AIM dash, the item that you copy over will not automatically resize. So you will then have to go in here and highlight every one of these items and resize them to fit the dash that you are creating. Now, the reason I showed you this, not because I want these LEDs, I think these are just not cool. We're going to delete these off of our dashboard here. So going forward, rather than post some insanely long videos on how to create a dashboard with all of the functions that you could possibly want or have, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add to this series as time goes on, and I will do one video for one function. So the next video that I am going to get into is going to talk about alerts. So when you change a brake bias or a yellow flag pops up, those alerts will pop up on your dashboard display when necessary. So if you want to add alerts, deltas, leaderboards, widgets, which are a very cool thing, all you'll have to do is scroll down through the list, find the widget, find the leaderboard video, and watch that one. And then I'll be posting all of the files that I create in those videos to Google Drive. I'll post the links for those as well. And then you can just go there, copy the alerts that I create, the widgets that I create, paste them into your dashboard, and you'll be good to go. So that's it for today. Thank you very much.